Hey guys, David here at Harley Davidson Nut Job. How's everyone doing today? Boy, it's nice and sunny. Oh, I love it. You know, being on the coast here, just sometimes we don't get the best weather. But look at that. Isn't that nice? Nice weather. But today I'm going to do what we call an Axel nut cover kit, and it's a project I've been procrastinating on for at least 6 months. I actually had the parts I needed to do it, and just, you know, because I'm such a lazy guy sometimes, I just didn't get around to it. But today we're gonna do it. We're gonna get this job done, guys. This time this video is going to show you step by step. The last video I did on the throttle lock assist was a disaster. I should have done the part first to figure it out and then redo it over step by step so you guys could have seen the aftermath of that project completed. But yeah, we're going to get this FXBR Breakout looking good. Down in here in the garage. This is what I work around. It's a big garage, guys. So yeah, and of course we got the Mustang and the Ziploc bag holds the motorcycle. Today is awesome. It is about 72, 73 degrees. It's really nice out here. So great day to ride, but we're gonna have some really super high winds. Right around, I would say, they were talking about a 36 to 40 mile an hour gust through here. So I don't like to ride in that shit. So today, until the winds come, I'm gonna get one of the projects done of many projects I have for this motorcycle. So stay with me, folks. I'm gonna get this thing unzipped and then we'll get right back to it. Okay, so I got the bike undone. It's out of its Ziploc bag, and let's get started. Let's get this project done once and for all. But I wanted to point out another thing that's on my list of things, many things to get done, is this reflector, the fork reflector. Now I found out that they make a kit for these where they're actually, you can replace this reflector for an LED. Just gives you more visual. And, you know, on the road I'm always looking for more visual. So that might have to be project number 6 to get done on this motorcycle. But that's a whole nother segment in itself. We'll worry about that when I get there. But for now, we're gonna do the what they call an Axel bolt kit, where if you notice here, this is pretty hollowed out, right? It goes all the way through to the other side, and I am a big advocate in rust prevention, and the reason being is that a couple of motorcycles of mine over the course of riding had problems with rust and corrosion. If I didn't live in areas that were close and snug up against the ocean, I lived in areas that they used salt and chemicals on the road when it snows. And so basically you would think that summertime comes and, you know, okay, they clear it up, they clean it up, the street sweepers come in, they clean up the entire area, and, you know, they make sure that there's no salt and no chemicals on the road. But that's not always the case, right? I just chalk it up as fucking lazy sometimes, but hey, whatever. State workers, county workers, yeah. You always see one guy with a shovel in his hand and 20 others just standing around. What can I say, right? But anyways, so over time, what happens is these bolts will get oxidized and start to rust. and I actually had a full axle bolt snap off on me one time. I was only doing about 28-30 miles an hour when it happened, but it completely took the wheel off the bike, and it was that bad. So after that, I discovered these axle bolt covers years ago, and they actually work. I mean, nothing's 100%. Nothing is bulletproof when it comes to our atmosphere, but you know, with this thing, it will prevent a lot of the corrosion and the salt air and whatever you have on your surface roads and highways. It'll keep most of it, at least 90% out of your bolts. And but anyways, let's get started on this project, right? This will be my first one for the front end. Now, I already have the rear wheels already done, and I will show you the after look of them when I'm all finished. But yeah, and they work great. They really do work good. And so without further ado, let's get this show on the road. So for the FXBR Breakout, which is the later year softail models, this particular kit is specific for this wheel. So just keep that in mind, that this kit actually is for breakouts and softails. And keep an eye on the year too, because that makes a big difference. Now, this kit here says for 2018, and I'm thinking, well, they didn't really change the front ends on these models in between 2018 and 2019. I'm not sure if they did it for the 2020 or the 2021 models, but I know that most of these parts are pretty much the same in those 3-year brackets. I could be wrong, like I say. You know, it wouldn't be the first time. So what you want to do is you want to take and put, there's an O-ring here. And I'm sorry if my camera has a hard time focusing on it. Let's see if I can back it up just a little bit so you can get it. There it is. So this is an O-ring, and this is the steel rod that this is going to go through. And this rod will go through the axle portion to the other side. Okay? And so you take the O-ring and you just basically slip it on. You want to eyeball it to about 1 inch. So that's probably about 1 inch right there. Looks to be like 1 inch. Okay, so you want to slip the O-ring on to about 1 inch, and move the camera back a little bit. There. Okay. So you want it about 1 inch on there. And so now you could choose to use thread locker. I typically don't use thread locker. I think it's a mess, but you know, to each his own. I don't use thread locker because maybe 9 times out of 10 I'm going to want to take this this off, maybe change it out, customize it to something else. You know, you just never know. So on this side, we're going to take the other side and we're going to throw it on there. Okay, we're just going to set it in there as such. Now I'm thinking this is going to be a big bolt. There are different size bolts, but then again, it could be the small bolt too. So you thread in a small bolt. You have your washer. Stick the washer in the bolt as such. And you start threading in this screw, okay? Let's see if I can actually find the right. I use these T-hex. Okay, I like using these because, you know, you can really get some pounds on it. You can use whatever kind of hex driver you want, but I actually like these outside of using, you know, one that's electric. And then, you know, for me, you just kind of spin it on. Right? And then you want to tighten it down. As tight as you can get that. Okay? And that's on. You can see the bolts inside. Right? And then you slip it in. Like such. But let's see if it actually came out the other side. Alright, so the rod that comes through this axle piece didn't come through here, but Harley Davidson, as smart as they are, they know this. Okay, so basically the rod comes to right about here, but that's why they give you the long bolts. So you can attach it in to the rod itself. So you just place it in here, like such. You screw it in. You got to hold the other side. Okay? And you start tightening it up. That's on there. That's not coming off. Okay? So once you have that on there, we'll go to the second part of it. And that is my goodness. That is the actual caps that will go over the stems here. Now, this particular kit is only for Harley Davidsons, where the big hex bolt that goes to your axle bolt and your fork is flush with the fork frame itself. Otherwise, you wouldn't need this kit. You'd have the bolts that would just come right on out, and then you could just clamp these puppies right onto the bolt itself. Kind of like the back end of my Harley. The bolts actually come out. They're not flush with the frame at all. But the front end of these breakouts, and I'm sure other Harley models, the bolts are flush, and so you have no way of putting this cap on there. And that's why we have the kit. So it just slides right on in. But let me make sure that there's not different sizes here to this. I believe there is. Okay, so it slides on just like that. And you screw it, you screw it on. I'm gonna flip around because I don't want to see the bolts. There's hex screws in this that that you use that keeps the cap in place, right? And it's on there flush. It's on there. There's that, right? And that's what a bolt cap does. Is it prevents any corrosion, any chemical that they lay on the roads or any salt that they put on the roads. It prevents it from getting and attacking that major hex bolt that keeps the axle bolt itself onto the forks. It doesn't corrode it to the point that it just snaps off. I mean, imagine doing 65, 75, even 80, and all of a sudden that bolt snaps in your axle. You're a dead man. So this prevents a lot of the corrosion and stuff getting into the axle bolt itself. So let's go ahead and go back through what I've done. So I went ahead and added the axle caps. Actually, the proper word for it is axle bolt covers or caps, whichever. So I did the front forks, the hex bolts on these axle bolts. They tend to corrode, they tend to get a little rusty, and these caps, believe it or not, they will actually prevent a lot of the rusting corrosion on those hex bolts, and that's what I'm going for. So there's the fronts, and there's the rear. The rear ones were real easy because they were already sticking out from the frame, so I didn't have to add a kit to these. But yeah, and it accents the bike really nice. Gives it that little bit of custom look to it. I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, got that done, thank God. One less project. Many more to do. So basically, this is breaking it down what I've done to the Breakout. So let's start with the turn signals. So basically, when you buy a brand new Harley Davidson straight out of the box at the dealership, basically all you're getting is bone stock. It's what they call a naked bike, right? And that's what I actually love about Harley Davidson, because it leaves you room to do upgrades and customize and do all kinds of things you want to do to your bike, whereas most of your new modern bikes of today, mostly your Metrix bikes, what you see is what you get. Very little to customize on, and they sell little parts to customize it with. So you can get little things here and there for Metrix bikes, but not to the extent that you want to do a full customization like I'm doing with this Harley Davidson Breakout. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I have done to this bike. So I'm going to start with the rear view mirrors, right? The stock ones that were on there were impossible to see anything behind me. Nonetheless, the lane next to me, I couldn't see cars at all with the stock mirrors that it came with. So I ordered aftermarket convex mirrors, and it looks thin. They actually look pretty cool. I like these mirrors a lot. But the arm itself is extended, so it extends out further, which gives you a further view behind you and beside you. And they're convex, so I can see when I'm on the freeway, and the freeways here in California, at least where I live in the urban areas, are about 6 to 7 lanes wide. So I can see every single lane behind me when I'm riding. And this kept me from having to turn the mirrors upside down. I know that a lot of you like to just flip them upside down and roll that way. I don't particularly like having to look down underneath my handlebars when I'm riding. Sometimes I ride aggressive and I need to be able to have everything at an eye shot in that split second. I don't need to be looking down at the mirrors when I need to be looking forward. So I replaced the mirrors. The turn light lenses and the lights itself, these came with halogen lights. And you know, maybe it's just me, but halogens to me is so outdated. I wanted something that was brighter. I wanted something that used less in voltage, and LEDs are perfect for automotive and motorcycles. So I replaced these blinkers. The fronts are blinkers, the rears are blinkers and brakes and hazards. Fronts are blinkers and hazards. So I replaced them, and while I am just riding normal, these lights add another addition to my moonlight headlight, and they're white and bright, and that's what I wanted. I wanted more exposure, and I wanted to be able to see the road a little better. And when I go to make a turn, I turn my turn signals on, they turn yellow. Pretty cool stuff. So I added that. Then I added a stage 1 to this 107, which according to the dyno, I've got it up to the equivalent of a stock 114. So I got my good tune on it, and that is a Screamin' Eagle Super Sucker round filter. I went ahead and replaced it from the stock one. I don't know, honestly, I don't know how this poor bike was able to suck any air with the stock one, man. It was just suffocating big time. The pipes, I kept OEM pipes, but I went with Vance & Hines, and it does still have the cats in them. I didn't want to void my warranty, and before I changed them out, I checked with Harley Davidson, and it was permitted without voiding the warranty. Then I did the slip-ons to those pipes. Those are 3-inch, and they're slider pipes, and there's basically no baffle to them, so they're super loud. And yes, folks, I am a firm believer loud pipes save lives, and especially here in California, because you have a lot of drivers here that are very careless. They're very indisposed with their gadgets in the car, their conversations on the phone, text messaging, you name it, folks. And so these pipes lets people know that I am right next to them, behind them, in front of them. I am there. And so, and it definitely opens up the Milwaukee 8. It definitely allows it to breathe a whole lot better than it did when it was stock. And the infamous problem that I had in my last video. This is the throttle lock. You see me try to fight this thing when my last video, and I kind of got hung up on a part here. But after reviewing it a little bit, I was able to put it right together. And so this works great. It locks great, it holds my throttle in place, takes the throttle down. Real simple part. The only thing I do not like about the throttle lock, this one in particular, is the fact that it took about an inch away from my bar, my grip. It took about an inch and a quarter away, and I don't like that. But hey, like I said in my last video, you know, sometimes we can just have our cake and no ice cream, and so I had to sacrifice an inch of space for my grips. Then I added in, you know, the cell phone holder. I just recently added in another GoPro mount. Now, the cell phone holder has a GoPro mount, but let me tell you, it sucks big time. It vibrates my GoPro to a point that when I'm riding down the road, you can see the waves in the video, and I don't like that, and I'm sure you guys don't either. So I went ahead and put another mount on for a GoPro. I'm fixing to put another mount right here to give a rear view, and so as soon as that comes in, I'm going to deal with that. Then I added in this rack. Let me tell you about this rack. This rack was a headache, big time. This rack costed me altogether about a little over $600. So when you buy a rack, most particularly from Harley Davidson, they don't tell you that this thing comes in pieces, right? And those pieces you have to basically piece this thing together. You have to figure it out on your own, because they're not going to tell you, because if they told you, then you would never buy it, right? You'd want to go for something that's complete. Buy it complete and bolt it on. Not with these guys. So with this one, I bought the rack. It was a detachable, removable rack. And you're thinking, okay, removable rack comes with the sissy bar. They actually advertised it as sissy bar rack detachable. And so you think when you're buying it that you're actually getting, you know, the whole enchilada. That you're getting the sissy bar, the pad, the brackets, the bolts, the detachable links. No, you get just the rack. You get the rack in the side mount. That's it. You get this side mount, and that's all you get. You have to buy the bolts, because they're detachable bolts for the detachable latch. Okay, so you have to buy all that separate. Then you have to buy the sissy bar. Then you have to buy this bracket, and then you have to buy the pad, right? So it doesn't all come together, and you have to basically piece it together. So this took me a little while. Not many people put racks on their Breakout. Most of the time they just want to keep it sporty looking, and that's fine. I mean, sometimes I'll remove the rack and just keep it looking original, but I'm always having to haul things around. I'm always having to, you know, take something to work, or you know, I need to stop at a place and pick up something. And when you don't have any room on a motorcycle, it becomes a task. And why do I always want to roll in my Mustang? Especially in weather like this, I want to roll on my motorcycle. I prefer 2 wheels over 4 any day of the week. So I got that all done and completed. I went ahead and kept my rear seat. I wanted to keep it original back there. I don't typically have additional riders with me when I'm rolling, so but I kept it on there for the original look. The seat is seats by Harley Davidson. It's I think you call it a moon seat. or I can't, a sundown seat. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but it's 5 1/4 inches thicker than the stock one, the original stock one, which wasn't too bad. But if you get into like an hour or so of riding, your ass is gonna feel it. But with this seat is amazing. It's comfortable and it contours my ass really good. So I went ahead and replaced that one. I got the bike and sway arm bag, and I tell you, it's a must on these bikes. Again, storage is always an issue with the Softail Breakouts, because there's, like I say, there's no room for anything else. You know, I do run with a tank bag, but it's a smaller version tank bag. I didn't want to go with one big bulky tank bag. I mean, I just want to keep it discreet as much as possible with this bike, just because of the way it's built and its curves. I did replace the derby plate. The one that was on there was kind of hideous. This one's pretty cool. I actually like this one from Harley Davidson. It was real simple to replace. The only thing you got to remember is when you're taking the original one off, you want to have your bike sitting virtually vertical. You don't want it leaned over on the kickstand or leaned over against the wall, because there's gear oil in that, and you want to keep the gear oil in. You don't want it draining all over the place. So it was real simple to switch out from the stock one to a custom one, and it accents the motor quite well. So I went ahead and replaced that, and that's about it so far, guys. I do have a detachable windshield for this. I don't run this bike with the windshield on all the time. I didn't want something that was permanently mounted to the bike. I wanted something that if I go on long trips, or if I'm going to work, which is about 37 miles from my residence, I want it to be able to throw the windshield on, latch it down real quick, and out the door and on the road. And with that particular windshield that's actually made for the Breakout, it allows me to run with one. And that's about it. I'm getting ready to change out these foot pegs. I need them out just a little bit longer. Not too much longer, but just a little bit. And then I'm going to put in a cover for the it's oil cooler, cools the motor down. I'm going to put in a different cover on that to kind of accent the bike. This is not really necessary, but it just adds additional art to the bike, I guess you want to call it. But yeah, so those are all the things I've done, guys. And I couldn't be happier with this bike. I really like it. I really like this motorcycle. I do have a Street Glide that I purchased in Florida. It is currently on its way over here. It's 2008, and I can't wait till it gets here. That's going to be the bike that I will take lengthy road trips with. I will go everywhere with that bike, and not really worry about mileage, or it has a much bigger tank than what I have here. So yeah, that's just a little bit of what I'm going to be doing. When I get that Street Glide here, I'll show you pictures of it, and there are a couple of things I'm going to want to do to that bike as well, and make it roadworthy and make it presentable to my personality, and enjoy this summer. This summer I really need to get the fuck out of here for a while. I really need to decompress. I mean, last summer I was locked down. You guys, fuck me, man. California was tighter than a well digger's ass. I just, I really don't want to suffer the same, fate this summer. I want to get out on the road. Like I say, usually I get about 10,000 miles on my motorcycle per every seasonal ride. This year I got literally a little over 1,000 miles on my motorcycle. I need more miles. I need to decompress a little more than that. So anyways, guys, I'm going to quit boring you. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you later.